My family drama can be summed up in one name: Ellen. My aunt. My mom's sister. The woman who nearly ruined my life until I took hers apart, one cold receipt at a time. Let me take you back. Before Ellen, before the court dates and the police and the lies, I was just a regular kid. 14.
Shy.
I liked art class. I hated gym. My favorite thing in the world was sitting with my dad after dinner and watching reruns of old sci-fi shows. He smelled like grease and metal. He worked long shifts at the local factory and still came home with a smile on his face. We didn't have much, but he made sure I never went without. My mom? She left when I was 5. I don't even remember her face. Just the sound of the front door slamming and the silence afterward. No note. No goodbye. Just gone. So it was me and my dad. And for a long time that was enough. Until the diagnosis. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. No cure. I remember sitting in that sterile white office, my dad gripping my hand tighter than ever before. He didn't cry. I did. He asked the doctor how long. The doctor said 6 months. He made it 8. The slowest, longest 8 months of my life. I watched my father wither in front of me. I learned how to change for bags before I ever learned to drive. I stopped going to school full-time. I read medical pamphlets instead of novels. And when he died, I felt hollow, like I'd aged 10 years overnight. That's when she showed up. Ellen. I hadn't seen her in years. My dad didn't like her. Said she was too slick. Too hungry for things that weren't hers. But when he passed, she appeared at the funeral like some over-perfumed specter. She wore a black dress and crocodile tears. Told me I didn't need to worry. You'll come stay with me now, sweetie. I've got a big house. You'll be safe. I didn't have anyone else. I was 15. So I packed my things, a duffel bag of clothes and a photo of my dad, and got in her Lexus. She played jazz the entire 2-hour drive. Not a single word when I cried in the passenger seat. Her house was beautiful. Cold. Spotless. Not a single item out of place. It looked like a magazine spread. But it wasn't a home. It was a cage. And I was just another object to be controlled. She had rules. No shoes inside. No food outside the kitchen. No closed doors. Lights out at 9 p.m., she'd say, like I was 5. Make your bed before breakfast or no breakfast. If you want to use the phone, you ask me first. I try to follow them. I really did. I just wanted peace. I just wanted to grieve. But it didn't matter. She'd find reasons to yell. My shirt was too wrinkled. I looked like a street rat. I chewed too loud. I didn't smile enough. She told me I had my mother's blood, full of drama and low-class instincts. I never even knew my mother. But apparently, her ghost was enough to condemn me. At first, I thought it was just tension. Grief. Adjustment. But then I overheard her on the phone. She was in the kitchen. I was upstairs, but the vent carried sound. She didn't even leave a will, Ellen whispered. But he had savings. A pension. The girl's too young to touch it, so it defaults to me. For her, technically. But you know how these things go. My blood went cold. That money was for me. My dad worked his entire life for that savings account. It wasn't for Ellen to spend on luxury handbags and expensive wine. But there she was, sipping champagne at dinner and telling me I was lucky to have her. That night, I didn't sleep. And that's when the plan started forming. At first, it was small. I started writing things down. I kept a notebook, dates, receipts, weird comments. She once made a $9,000 donation to some retreat in Palm Springs. Said it was for healing. She wasn't healing. She was vacationing. Then I got sneakier. I started photographing her receipts with an old phone I hid in my sock drawer. I recorded conversations. I searched up legal blogs. Custodial embezzlement. Minor trust fraud. Guardianship abuse. I was building a case. Quietly. Carefully. And she had no idea. When I turned 17, things got worse. She started talking about a residential program for troubled girls. You need discipline, she said over dinner. You've been sulking for months. I think this place could fix your attitude. I wasn't in trouble. I had a 3.8 GPA. I didn't party. I didn't drink. But sending me away meant full control over the money, no oversight. No questions. That's when I met Ben. Quiet kid at school. Always sketching, always reading. We weren't friends, but I saw the way he looked at me, curious. Kind. So I sat next to him. Little by little, I shared my story. Left out the revenge part, obviously. Turned out his older brother Jay was into hacking. Not black hat level or anything. Just side gigs. Forums. Privacy tricks. I asked for an intro. Jay was skeptical. I told him Ellen was abusing me. I told him she was stealing. He said it'd cost $500. I used Ellen's emergency card. She didn't check the statements. Ever. 2 days later, Jay gave me everything. Passwords. Bank statements. Transfer logs. Over $180,000 from my dad's account, now sitting comfortably in hers. She'd bought new furniture, jewelry, paid off credit card debt, even leased a second car. It wasn't just theft. It was premeditated. So I waited. I kept building. I created a fake diary in case she snooped. I staged emotional breakdowns just to keep her arrogant. And then, finally on my 18th birthday, I filed for emancipation. And I walked into a lawyer's office with a binder thick enough to give someone a concussion. He flipped through it in silence for 20 minutes. Finally, he looked up. "You sure you want to go through with this?" I smiled. I've never been more sure. 3 weeks later, Ellen got served at home. She screamed so loud the neighbor thought someone was being murdered. She kicked over a planter, called me every name she could think of, said I was ungrateful, poisonous, just like my mother. She tried to get ahead of it, claimed I stole from her. But she didn't know I had backup copies. Multiple lawyers. Bank logs from 3 different angles. Audio recordings. A digital trail, so tight not even Houdini could slip through. She was arrested on a Friday afternoon. In her bathrobe. Still had curlers in her hair. The court process took months. She cried in front of the judge. Talked about how she gave me a home. How I was a troubled youth. But the evidence buried her. 5 years in prison. Fraud. Embezzlement. Forgery. Custodial abuse. And me? I sold her house. Donated some of the money to a hospice fund in my dad's name. The rest went to college. People still ask me if I miss her. If I regret it. If I feel bad that she's behind bars. I don't. She called me the quiet one. Said I was forgettable. Weak. Said I was lucky she took me in. But, in the end, I was the one who got the last word. And every time I walk into my dorm room, see my dad's photo on the desk, and flip the lights on without anyone yelling at me, I know he'd be proud. She underestimated me. And that was her